And so now it's time to catch up and raise a glass. It is time to raise a glass on a successful season. And for this, we go to Columbus, Ohio, and catch up with our friend Michael Parkhurst. Sir, yesterday I was sporting the gear. You would have been proud, but I salute everything that happened in year 2 for Rhode Island FC. And I know that you are still rueing what happened on the weekend, sir. But congratulations on yet another race well run for a young franchise.
Thanks. Yeah, obviously disappointing finish. Had our chances in the game, didn't take them. That's what happens. Former Atlanta United guy got us. So it's all good. It happens. But yeah, we were close. Successful season.
No doubt. So what were the lessons that you think you as an MIT and the front office and the club may take forward from year 2 that you can run into year 3, because you've got a new barn, you've got a new home, you've got all this different ideas of infrastructure and club organization and running things on 24/7. What do you think you'll learn that will be learned from this year that you can carry forward?
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot on the business side and off the field, and first year in the stadium, learning a lot there. But on the field, a good amount as well, as far as we'll have some turnover in the roster, and just what we need out of our roster and size of it, and who fits the style of play, and just realizing that not every good soccer player fits every system and every style that a coach wants to play. So just getting the right people for how Kano wants Rhode Island FC to play, and that fit that. And so, we will change some things and move some pieces around, and that'll give us a little bit more flexibility with the roster. And, but yeah, I think that our goal is definitely to start the season a lot faster next year. 2 years in a row, we've been in a not great place the first at least half of the season. Mm-hmm. So we'd like to put ourselves in a better position halfway point next year, where we're, in the top 4 or right there. So yes, that's a big part of it.
Yeah. I mean, for 2 years in a row, you've come out of lane 8. And it has been one of those sprints where, you're coming around the corner and then all of a sudden you see somebody coming from behind, and it's you guys, meaning Rhode Island FC, and you come and crash the postseason party. And then when you get into the postseason, then everybody's on their heels, and you've been taking advantage of it, making an appearance in the last game of the year last season, conference final this year. When it comes to consistency of making sure that switch is flipped from the beginning, how difficult is that to be at 100%, but not completely and totally just blow out the engine when you really need it in the postseason? How hard is it to come out of the blocks storming, but not lose that momentum and that energy over the span of a season? So, when you get into the postseason, you still have that energy. How difficult is that to maintain?
Yeah, it's a challenge for every team in the world. And if you gave any coach a choice of would you rather start strong or finish strong, they're going to say finish strong. So as long as the finishing strong is enough to get you in the playoffs and, into a postseason run, and if you're 30 points out of a playoff spot and you finish strong, then, that's crazy. But yeah, that's a challenge. And, the good news is that we've figured out a way to peak at the right time of the year, but we definitely need to do a better job getting out of the gates a little faster. And we handicapped ourselves this year, right? We started 6 games on the road because of the stadium. Mm-hmm. It's never easy. Year 1 is always going to be a tough start, just, as everybody's getting used to each other and figuring things out. But so, you can make excuses about any year though, likely. So, but I think that the preseason will be important for us. We're trying to play more higher level teams, less teams that are below our level. And so, yeah, hopefully that'll help. Hopefully the continuation of a good pocket of the roster will help as well. So Yeah, we're banking on those things, and then we're trying to get some home games early on in the season. Even though it'll be cold, we want to have some home games to make sure that we're doing our everything we can to start the season off towards the top of the table.
And at the same time, you know that you can market the thermal gear that Rhode Island FC would be wearing on those matches. You can put it at the team store and have folks purchase it, and they could dress like the team in cold weather, not just in warm weather.
True that.
I mean, okay, you know me. I'm always looking out for the mogul and trend.
Marketer extraordinaire at heart.
Give me a break. Yeah, right. Since you opened up a couple of doors for the mentoring portion here, maintaining energy over the span of a season, whatever that season is, because for a mentee, it could be anything from school and the high school team to travel ball team to going into a tournament, being plucked and sitting there, and it's like, okay, we want you to do this. So you have all of these different opportunities to showcase yourself these days for the young athlete. How difficult is it to manage it from what you and Greg have been able to stare at, to be at 100%, knowing that you're being pulled in all of these different directions, and it's on the field and off the field that you're being pulled apart here? How difficult is it for the young athlete to maintain that energy level and be there each and every time you're called upon, even though it could be something different, because you're showcasing yourself 19 different ways these days instead of just like high school, college, travel? I mean, it's a whole lot different. How difficult is it to get them to maintain that energy, knowing you're going to have all these different appearance opportunities?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing that the younger generation has a lot more energy, right? That's
Go
for a
right
reason.
ahead. I'm good to go.
But I mean, that's the challenge for even a pros, right? We're talking about consistency, and it's not just can you have a good game here or there. It's how often can you be good, and you're never gonna be at top form for a year long. That's so difficult, right? Only a handful of players probably in the world can do that. Even look at Liverpool, look at Mo Salah. Just they have down periods, and that doesn't mean they're bad players or they've lost it or anything, right? It's just part of the process, and so that's why we're trying to harp on, hey, it's not all about the results, right? Just get better. Keep enjoying yourself, enjoy what you do every day, and get a little bit better. And if you're doing that, in the long run, it'll work out. But that's more important than if you win on Saturday or, do you score a goal on the weekend? Because that's hit or miss. And, but that process and that work rate is going to be there all the time. So that's where you got to try and have the consistency before on the weekend, finding that consistency.
How difficult is it, though? You mentioned enjoying yourself because of all of these pressures, internal and external. And God, I remember, 128 years ago when I was in high school, all the external pressures, more academic than athletic, because not everybody wanted to see a left-handed third baseman. They're like, no, go play first base. No, you're going over there. You're going out to right field. It was like Les Nessman. You're going out to play right field, Les. That's how it's going to go. But with all of these pressures that are there these days, I would imagine, first off, that there are more pressures today on young student athletes than there were when you were in high school, and definitely when I was in high school in the days of black and white TV. I mean, so are there more pressures, or am I just barking up a wrong tree here?
There's more pressures. There's more pressures just because the level's higher. There's more individual training. There's more insight into what other people out there are doing, and what is needed in order to get it to the higher level. There's more pressure internally because the cost of everything is so much higher. So, and I understand this aspect. Parents are now, and I even encourage this too, right? If you're on the fence of like, hey, is my kid ready for travel, or should we stay in rec? And part of that is having a conversation that, hey, there's a big commitment financially and time from the family, and the player needs to be committed to not be insane about the sport.
All of the effort that's attached to it. Know that you're getting
Yeah,
into.
but the player's got to match that with, hey, yeah, I want to go to practice. I want to get better. I'm not going to just waste your time and go out here and mess around and not want to get better and do these things, right? So, with that, I think comes a little bit more pressure on the players, right? I don't know. I never felt that when I was younger, but I just love to play. I don't think the costs were as crazy as they are now either, and we weren't kind of playing year round like we are now. So of course it's just different, and social media, of course, we've touched on that before.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult.
Mm-hmm. And internal pressures, external pressures from social media are an entirely different thing that's attached to all of this. And when you see how things are different these days, and you wonder, is the first impulse correct? Like if I was to ask you, just as an example, you want to go out and shoot a 78 tomorrow, right? What's your first impulse? Yes. Yeah. And so that's the thing. It's like, if you have a question like that, it's a duh, it's a duh response. But when it comes to all of the investment these days, when it comes to parents into their kids, coaches into student athletes, is that first impulse still the right impulse, or do you hear a lot of second guessing about things like this? Or to me, I would, the duh is the easy part of this. But if you have to think about it, are you thinking about it too long? And then is it not a duh, I guess, is basically what I'm getting to when it comes to student athletes these days.
Totally. Because John, if you asked me if I'd be committed to going to the range once a week for 6 months in order to really get better, I'd be like, probably not.
Right.
If I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to do that. Right. So yeah, I want to shoot a 78, but I'm not going to put in the actual work to be able to help myself go shoot a 78 pretty consistently.
Yeah.
I might get lucky once and shoot a 78.
Yeah.
Right. That doesn't mean I'm a 78 golfer.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. To be honest, sidebar, my rounds are so infrequent that I find that after that long layoff, my first round back, because I haven't devoted any time to the range or whatever, I'm just kind of like, YOLO and Leroy Jenkins the whole time. And it's just like fire away. And I'll shoot that 78 just because of, not thinking about it, no internal pressures, no nothing like that. And to have that, just that once, you'd love to be able to have the responsibility and the thought pattern to continue to carry that through, but that's never the case. You get back out there, and you get back out there, then the pressure starts all over again.
Totally. Yeah. And that's why every sport's a lot mental, right? And what we can do there. Side note, I'm going to be down in Atlanta next week because we're doing a camp, Greg and I, with 90 plus training in Marietta.
Nice.
On Monday and Tuesday, but I'm getting down there early because I'm going to play golf with former Atlanta United legend Mark Bloom on Sunday morning at Cherokee. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Are you going to play like dollar Nassau per hole, or is Bloomy going to sandbag you the whole time? How does this work usually?
Likely. I mean, he's in the finance world now. He's a finance bro. So my guess is he probably plays golf like 5 days a week and works like 5 hours a week. I don't know that for sure, but that's my guess. So I haven't looked up to see what his handicap is. I probably should do that to see,
Well, no, but I think the key is not to practice between now and then and just go out there and just crush it.
There's no practicing, John. It's like 40 degrees here every day. I'm not,
That's what I'm saying. Have you ever thought about installing an indoor Parkhurst golf dome facility?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately not. We do our basement, the ceilings are very low. I don't even know if I could swing a golf club down there.
Okay, so that just means it's hockey or soccer.
It'd have to be an attachment. I guess I could take over the backyard.
Yeah, you could create the Parkhurst dome and just do something in the backyard and have your own, like a carriage house. Just sit there, except it's a carriage golf facility. That's what you need.
That's a DIY project, I think.
No. You farm it out. No, it's not a DIY. No, you sit there and it's like, there are dudes that do this better than me. And it's like, dudes that do this better than me, I'm gonna let you handle it. I will
Mhm.
come in and I will thank you and I will write the Yelp review of like 92 stars. But backyard, you guys do it, make it look good. Here's my specs, and I'll see you later. And I'll come in and I'll practice, and then I'll beat
Mm.
Mark Bloom. That's just kind of how this works. Uh, Other topic that you opened up when you were discussing what's going on with Rhode Island FC, the close call, and how that affects people mentally. And I would imagine that when you get to a point where, let's say, with Atlanta United, you win MLS Cup, and then you're literally a step out away from going into a second MLS Cup appearance the next year, and you're right there with it with that group of folks. With Rhode Island, you make it to the last game of the year, then you make it to a conference final. How do you impart upon your mentees the idea of learn from it, don't let it bog you down? Yeah, it's going to suck for a bit, but but learn from it and don't dwell on it. How difficult is it, especially with the peer pressure that we talked about earlier? How difficult is it to keep them from dwelling on the bad and understand the lessons that you learn along the way?
It's tough. I mean, shoot, that game still hurts me, and that was 5 years ago. Um, I mean, granted, I never got another opportunity to go out there and play another game and get over it in that regard,
Mhm.
right? But yeah, it's tough. Shoot, I remember all three of our MLS Cup losses from my first 3 years as a pro.
Mhm.
So it's challenging, but you know that you can use this experience later on at some point when you're in a similar situation, and that's important. The experience of going on the run, the experience of what it takes to have success in the postseason to get to that point is all important, and it's all useful knowledge for everybody on the team. So yeah, you use that to fuel your next run, of what it takes and how awesome it is to be training when no one else is. Right? When that last week of the season that Rhode Island got to play last week, right? There was only 4 teams still training.
Mhm.
Right. That's pretty cool to think about. And then this whole week, there's only 2 teams training. Um, like that's why I always remembered that when I was making these runs. Like, yeah, we're the only guys that still get to do this every day. Everybody else is already on vacation or doing whatever. So yeah, I mean, like everything, we try and take the lessons from the losses to make it worthwhile. But it stings. It hurts. It's tough, especially when you get that far. And it's going to sting for a long time, maybe forever. Right. That's okay. That doesn't mean we can't use what we learned from those games in the future.
You mentioned it stings to this day, and I mean, how do you? I would imagine also that is it difficult to convert a negative to either a positive or just a kind of something that you navigate and understand? Is it easy to flip that switch over time? Is it something that you just flip immediately to? It's like, yeah, okay, it was great. I'm learning my lessons from it. Okay, move on. How is it difficult to flip that switch to go from, yeah, this sucks, to understanding a lesson when it comes to being on the field, even though you may feel differently off the field?
Yeah, and I don't think you have to flip the entire thing,
Mhm.
right? I'm never going to look back at that Toronto game and say, "Oh, that was a positive,"
No.
right? No, it wasn't. It sucked. It
Mhm.
will always have sucked. But for other guys to look at and say, "What positives can I get from it?"
Mhm.
Right? You can take some positives from an experience, and the experience is still not great. And so I think that's the differentiator. That's still difficult because it still requires you to analyze it and look back on it. And that's tough to do with something that was painful, didn't go your way, you didn't play well, right? It's tough to look back on a game that you played terrible. Um, that's tough because you are trying to forget those difficult moments and put them out of your head. So can you look back? Because you usually don't have a chance to look back until at least a day or two after, right? When the video is available and you can look at it and analyze it, right? And well, the night after the game, I already visualized it all in my head. I went back and thought about all the negative things. So I want to get it out of my head. So it's tough to go back and look at it and learn from it. That's just the nature of it. But that still makes it important. But I don't think you have to flip the whole thing, because that's unrealistic, I think.
Is it easier to compartmentalize as you get older, or is it just a learned trait from the absolute beginning of when you're, an athlete and understanding what you want to do with a career or whatever? Is it something that you picked up early in compartmentalizing, or is it just a learned trait over time?
It gets easier, I think, over time, a little bit. I think that you realize that some things are just meant to be, and you don't know why that is in the beginning. And I think I've talked about this before. Like, I was so mad at Columbus for trading me.
Yeah.
And then you don't know that it's going to work out in Atlanta. You don't know that it's going to be amazing. And you would have asked to be traded, in hindsight. So you just don't know at the time. But it's tough to say, hey, for some reason, it's not meant to be, or this wasn't meant to be, or for some reason this is happening to me and I have to try and make the most of it. And that's tough. And I think you need some experience of going through something and getting on the other side of it and realizing, like, hey, it worked out for a reason. It wasn't the journey that I thought I was going to take, but this journey's hardened me, and I'm still on the right track.
Do your mentees question, when they're talking to you and Greg, do they question the journey at that age? Like I said, and these are probably generational divide questions that I'm asking this time, but do they question the journey more? Are they more confident in the journey these days? How is the mentee when it comes to what they want to do with their future? Are they still asking questions? Do they know what they want to do? How are they reacting these days?
Yeah, a lot of them know where they want to get to in the future.
Yeah.
They've got this thought of, I want to be pro, or I want to play in college, or I want to get to an MLS Next academy team. Right. But, we're trying to help them through that process. It's okay to want that and have that as your goal. What are you doing on a daily basis to try and achieve that goal? That's what we really are trying to help out with, is that approach, and breaking it down so that whether they accomplish that goal or not, they can look back and say, hey, did I take these steps to give myself the best chance? And if you did that, then you're probably in a pretty good space to have success, either in something else outside of soccer, or just to change your pathway and say, hey, maybe I need to go to D2 first, and then I'll go to a D1, or, whatever it might be.
And I think it's refreshing to hear from you when we have these discussions, how level-headed it seems the modern day mentee is. It's like they get it and they understand it. Is everyone level-headed? How much coaching to get to level-headedness are you three having to do? Or is perspective, I guess the level of coaching that you have to do and mentoring that you have to do for them to gain perspective to a point, how much of that do you have to do these days?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. There's some players, of course, that are more inclined and kind of wired that way, but there's a lot that aren't. And it's not just hey, listen to me talk and tell you this thing for 30 minutes and you'll be good, right? It's kind of showing them things on the field. Like I've got a mentee. He's got bad body language on the field, and he's very talented. And it's a problem. And it's one thing to talk about, hey, why is body language important, and how is it perceived by teammates and referees and scouts and coaches and things. But it's another thing to show him and say, hey, man, this is literally your video. Here's your body language when you just made this pass. Here's your body language right now when your teammate didn't. I don't even know if you're aware of it, right? I don't even know if you know that you're doing it. So that's step one, is being aware of it. And then, step two is just, trying to correct it and understand why it's detrimental to your success. Honestly, it is. So body language is such a big one. And we talk about that a lot, but that goes into kind of that level-headedness and understanding the ups and downs. And it's just a small part of it.
See, now, of course, at the tail end of our conversation, you open up a door like body language, and that's going to be like, I'm serious. No, this is the way it always goes. It's like,
Yeah.
we'll have a door, we'll open a door, and we'll go down a road. And then always 10 times out of 9, you'll say something at the end. And I'm like, damn, I wish, we had another like 35 minutes or something to get into something like that. But what that also does is it sits there and reminds me that you need to have Mark Bloom's body language be as poor as humanly possible this weekend.
Oh, I'm gonna get in his head. That's for sure, John. I'm gonna win the mental game.
See now, and that's damn it, mental game. Okay, all right. So, and mental game with mentees. So you've given me 2 topics to talk about with you next time out of the blocks, in addition to everything else. So you're coming down here. You're playing golf with Bloomy on Sunday. You got you and Greg are mentoring Monday, Tuesday. Yes.
Yes, we are having a on-field camp, so actual skill stuff. But then part of that, the last 30 minutes of camp is mentoring. Then we're kicking off our Inter-Atlanta partnership, doing some mentoring sessions with them.
Yes.
Doing some futsal training. I mean, we got a packed couple days.
Awesome, as always.
Yeah.
At BG Mentoring on the Twitters, at MF Parkhurst on the 280 character app as well. And it's going to be fantastic to have you down here. Before you go, what's Thanksgiving going to be like at the Casa de Parkhurst?
Low key. We keep it low key. It's going to be football and cooking at the house, and we're trying to maybe do something on Thanksgiving morning where we go donate time, help out somewhere, do something. We haven't done that before, but we feel like we should, especially this year. And so, yeah, that's TBD. But the rest of the day would just be us chilling, eating, hanging out.
Good deal. As always, my friend, thanks for opening all these doors. It's great to see you. Enjoy taking Bloomy to the shed when you play 18. Have a fun time with Inter-Atlanta. We'll catch up with you next time, my friend. Great to see you.
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Happy holidays and enjoy the Thanksgiving.
You know it, Michael Parkhurst, everybody. And